You wake up every day angry.
Sebastian, he is...
like to say to whoever has my children that they please.
We just hoping that he...
functioning autistic.
happy and alive.
Wherever you are, just know that we are not going to stop.
This is Reporter Room with Jessica Della Davies.
The Sebastian Rogers case. I don't know, you guys. I'm starting to feel really worried about this. I just feel like we're going round and round in circles. But what I want to do today is raise awareness for Sebastian. I need all of you to help me do that. I don't want this case to go cold. I also want to talk to you about the timeline of Sebastian's disappearance, when he was last seen alive. I'm really hoping that by coming together as a true crime community and supporting Sebastian Rogers, whether you are pro Proudfoots or pro Rogers, I think we can all agree we're all pro Sebastian. So I'm hoping that we can just focus on that today as we dig into this and try to make some sense out of what's been going on. So my name is Jessica Della Davies. I'm an investigative journalist, and my job is to investigate crimes, crime scenes, and potential suspects, and share with you how to do the same thing. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Like, share, leave a comment, and let's get started. So today we're going to be talking about Sebastian Rogers, and we're going to talk about SF Investigates, just an overview of what he's been doing as a private investigator. My understanding is that he's now working for Chris and Katie Proudfoot. We're also going to re-look at that timeline. We're going to go through those first few weeks, and we're going to compare what we knew then with what we've learned now and see what we can suss out together. So are you watching closely? It has almost been a year. It'll be a year, February 26th, of when he was first reported missing by his mom, Katie Proudfoot. Hopefully, by working together as a community, we can help raise awareness and keep Sebastian's case from going cold. This case is breaking my heart because we're coming up on a year in just a few weeks, and we still have no answers as to what happened. Now, Steve Fisher from SF Investigates apparently has been hired by either the Proudfoots or maybe the Bowersox, but he's apparently going to be investigating this case. He's got a lot of experience. So hopefully with him on the case, we will get some new leads into the case. Sebastian just turned 16 years old. He was last seen wearing all black and not wearing shoes, carrying a keychain flashlight. But again, no shoes. So I think it's unlikely, and we're going to go through that timeline in just a second, but I think it's unlikely that Sebastian would have left the house, at least if he were planning to leave for a long period of time. And I just don't think he would have gone out that door without his shoes on. He just doesn't strike me as an outdoor type of child. We've never heard neighbors say that Sebastian was out riding his bike, or we saw Sebastian out, throwing the ball with Chris in the yard. So it makes me wonder if there was some type of an abduction, or if that thud that Katie heard around 10 p.m. was actually the front door slamming, and that Sebastian left because of something that he maybe heard between Chris and Katie Proudfoot. It could have been something he actually heard. It could have been something he misheard. So it's our understanding that Sebastian was last seen inside his home on February 25th of 2024. But law enforcement has him disappearing on their dates, February 26th of 2024. So I'm thinking that this is the date he was reported by Katie Proudfoot as being missing, and it just seems like it's human error. We are all human, and even law enforcement can have both dates in their, on their paperwork, and one gets put down as the permanent date. Okay, so let's go through the timeline together. So Sebastian Rogers was last seen alive on February 25th by Katie inside their home. he was seen publicly for the last time at the Texas Roadhouse restaurant, and that was in the hours leading up to. Now, some people don't think Sebastian made it home. Some people do. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. But Katie says that she put Sebastian to bed, and she said that he's told her that he loved her and he loved the puppies too, but she did not reply. And I'm just wondering now, with everything that's happened, if she regrets not saying to him, I love you too. On February 26th, Katie Proudfoot said that she went to wake up Sebastian, but that he was not in his room. And she looked everywhere, and after 1 minute, she started to panic. After searching the house, she called Chris Proudfoot, who then called law enforcement. Now, I think it would have been better if Katie would have called law enforcement. I don't know if she was just so frazzled at the time that he just, wanted to take over. And then Chris Proudfoot also called Seth Rogers. Again, I think it would have been better for law enforcement if Katie would have called, because she had a lot of details on the case that Chris Proudfoot wouldn't have had, because according to Katie and Chris, he had not been home for the whole month of February. So I think that Katie would have had a lot more to share with law enforcement and also with Seth Rogers. And I'm curious if you think their wedding date has anything to do with what happened to Sebastian. So then Chris Proudfoot also notifies Seth Rogers. And again, I feel like maybe this should have been Katie telling him. So the police in Sumner County contacted the TBI, and they issued on the 26th, we're still on the 26th, an endangered child alert. Now, more than 200 searchers came out to search for Sebastian, including K-9 units, mounted officers, drones, helicopters, and Katie was told to remain at home in case Sebastian came back to the house. And she does do that for a couple of weeks. And then inexplicably, she decides she's going to accompany Chris. And I think, again, this raised a lot of red flags. And, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I can understand why people feel suspicious of Katie and her actions and lack thereof, because to our knowledge, Chris and Katie never did search for him. On February 27th, authorities changed the alert to an Amber Alert. Now, this means that investigators believe an abduction could have been involved and that Sebastian was in immediate danger. And so search efforts continued. Police were using his favorite song, Eye of the Tiger, trying to lure him out. They also asked people in the area to check their security and doorbell cameras to see if there was any sign of Sebastian. And to our knowledge, no doorbell cams picked up Sebastian leaving his home the night of February 25th or in the wee hours of the morning of February 26th. The last proof of life we have of Sebastian outside of the Proudfoot home is at that Texas Roadhouse restaurant. Now, we have that lights video where I do believe I see two figures walking to a car, but there's, been a lot of back and forth as to what that actually shows. On February 29th, law enforcement drained that pond near the Proudfoot's home. You'll remember that search dogs were out there, and it was reported to us that a search dog followed Sebastian's scent and jumped into the pond, and this is why they decided to drain that pond. Authorities said that there were multiple tips received, but that there was nothing on anybody's security camera, at least not that we've been told so far, that has led us to Sebastian. Now, on March 2nd of 2024, business owners pooled their money, and by the next day they had raised $3,500. And I think that just shows how much this community in Hendersonville really cares for Sebastian Rogers. And now the reward fund is up to over $250,000. So, hopefully that will lead to his being found safe. March 4th of 2024 is also the first time that Katie Proudfoot and Chris Proudfoot went on camera to appeal for Sebastian's return. And I think this was at least 8 days later after he disappeared. So the fact that they waited such a long time to go on camera is really unusual. Usually if you think there might have been an abduction or he ran away, you would have the parents get on camera right away. I'm not sure what was going on there. What do you think? Why didn't Katie and Chris get on camera right away and appeal for Sebastian, especially being that the case was upgraded to an Amber Alert, which means law enforcement did think there was a possible abduction. On March 7th, Police searched the landfill in Kentucky, and I think we were all holding our breath at this point because we didn't want him to be found in the landfill. They didn't say why they ever searched it. There's more than just that. They said it was a precaution that they were searching it, but I'm wondering if they got some kind of a tip or were following some kind of a hunch because they only searched one landfill and it wasn't in the same state. He went missing in Tennessee. It wasn't far away, but there's other landfills too. But apparently that's where the trash from the Proudfoots home went to, in White Plains, Kentucky. On March 10th of 2024, Sebastian's biological dad, Seth Rogers, he expressed fears. He was worried that something nefarious happened to Sebastian. And he said that Sebastian was not the type of kid to wander, and we know that Sebastian left without shoes on. And being that he had had this incident that Seth told us about with the red fire ants, it seems unlikely that on a cold winter night in February in Tennessee that Sebastian would have left the house without his shoes on, unless he was lured out of the house, or he was abducted, or just went out for a second and didn't think he wasn't coming back. What do you guys think? Thank you so much for joining me today. I cannot get to 40,000 subscribers without your help, so I hope you'll take a minute and subscribe. I will see you next time. Bye.